His Excellency President Xi Jinping, last year's host. Next year's host, His Excellency Yolanda Mala Tasso. The Honorable Malcolm Turnbull, Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of Australia, His Majesty Sultan Haji Hassan Al Bolkiah of Sultan and Yang di Pertuan of Brunei Darussalam, the Right Honorable Justin Trudeau, Prime Minister of Canada, Her Excellency Michelle Bachelet, President of the Republic of Chile, the Honorable Leung Chun Ying, Chief Executive, Hong Kong SAR, Honorable Muhammad Yusuf Kalla, Vice President of the Republic of Indonesia, His Excellency Shinzo Abe, Prime Minister of Japan, Her Excellency Pak Yung-hee, President of the Republic of Korea, His Excellency Dato Sri Mohammed Najib bin Tun Abdul Razak, Prime Minister of Malaysia, His Excellency Enrique Peña Nieto, President of the United Mexican States, the Right Honorable John Key, Prime Minister of New Zealand, Honorable Peter O'Neill, Prime Minister of the Independent State of Papua New Guinea, His Excellency Dmitry Medvedev, Prime Minister of the Russian Federation, His Excellency Lee Hsien Loong, Prime Minister of the Republic of Singapore, Honorable Vincent Xu, Representative Economic Leader of Chinese Taipei to the Apec Economic Leaders Meeting, His Excellency Prayut Chan-o-cha, Prime Minister of the Kingdom of Thailand, His Excellency Chung Tan-sang, President of the Socialist Republic of Vietnam. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Excellencies, partners from Abac, ladies and gentlemen, let me begin by putting forward an observation as someone who has worked both in the private and public sectors. The effectivity of government and business is measured by how they cope with disruption. In fact, we can say that many aspects of our work involve responding to disruption. When natural calamities hit, we have to take immediate actions to make sure we not only secure our people ahead of time, but also build back better afterwards. When there are significant movements in the global economy, we need to revisit our policies to make sure our economies and our companies not only act swiftly to adjust, but remain competitive in a new environment. There is also disruption in a positive sense, where a few innovative companies broaden our technological frontiers, dramatically alter the market, and thus push all other firms to adjust to the new norm. Disruption can also be a strategy to enable government to challenge the status quo and adopt wide-ranging reforms to make sure that our progress remains equitable. Our gathering today is an exercise in positive innovation. Confronted by an increasingly complex, interconnected, and unpredictable world, we are all challenged to look at trends that may cause disruption so that we can act with resilience and craft a response with inclusivity at its core, ensuring no one is left behind. These two elements are at the heart of the report prepared by our friends at Abac, aptly themed Resilient, Inclusive Growth, a Fair Deal for All. I will not preempt the presentation of our colleagues from Abac, but allow me to share with you 2 points that I have taken to mind as President. First, regardless of the sector you belong to, the work of innovation begins with the correct appreciation of the problem, which leads to the correct crafting of the solution. Policymakers must provide the environment that nurtures this. In turn, this requires the inputs from our business colleagues to maximize the synergy between us. In this endeavor, the private sector plays a vital role here. In fact, is it not true that much of the success of our business community can be attributed to visionaries identifying problems and coming up with out-of-the-box solutions? In business parlance, I'm told this is known as finding a need. This brings me to my second point. The closer we work together, the more intelligently, efficiently, and swiftly we can evolve to meet the challenges of our increasingly globalized milieu. In my experience as president, I have seen how such partnerships revolutionize the lives of our countrymen and their communities for the better. Case in point, through pilot programs with partners in the private sector, such as Nestle's Nescafe Plan and the Farmer Entrepreneurship Program of our very own Jollibee, our rural communities have seen farmers trained to be more knowledgeable about their work. By working with the sector that provides them with the ingredients, quality control is also enhanced. Farmers, in turn, learn more and earn more and are assured of stable incomes. This is a win-win situation. What is ignited here and later reinforced is a virtuous cycle of efficiency and shared growth. To my mind, such efforts are representative of what ABAC and the rest of the APEC community do for our region, to inspire a sense of possibility and optimism, which gives birth to innovations and new pathways in business, economics, and governance. In other words, evolution born of innovation takes place. And I must say that by evolving, we become more efficient, and being more efficient, we can better compete and take hold of the opportunities that emerge to grow our markets. Today, in the various breakout sessions, we will discuss topics which, in very concrete ways, impact the lives of our peoples and the development of our economies. These are, first, the next steps towards a free trade area of the Asia Pacific. Second, the pursuit of region-wide growth through services. Third, the expansion of infrastructure finance. Fourth, the advancement of MSME growth. And fifth, the promotion of sustainable development, as well as that of the rule of law. In all our discussions, may we invite our leaders and ABAC representatives to share your thoughts and insights in an open and friendly manner, which has become the hallmark of this gathering. You and I, as leaders of our economies and our respective sectors, have the same mission: to increase prosperity, you for your corporations, and for all of us for our peoples. Working hand in hand enables us to better understand the context that we operate in, formulate the right approaches based on the correct understanding of the problems, and thus lay the groundwork for a more resilient future, one that is sustainable, inclusive, and truly fair. Thank you. Good day.
Chair of APEC 2015, President Aquino, Your Majesty, Your Excellencies. Much has been achieved. The world we know has profoundly changed since the establishment of APEC 25 years ago. Much has been achieved, but global megatrends are changing the landscape and are creating new challenges for economies, business, and society as a whole. Based on studies by PwC, these megatrends permeate all sectors of the economy. Consumer demands are rapidly changing, compelling everyone to review business models and delivery systems. The first is demographics and social change, with the global population hitting 8 billion by 2025. At the same time, some societies have aging populations, with the fastest growing segment at over 65 years old. We already feel the shortages of labor in our businesses, and we expect a war on talent, needing more women in the workforce and better cross-border mobility of people. The world will be increasingly diverse, contributing to richer exchange in ideas. Yet, there will be challenges in assimilation and social cohesion. APEC needs to implement bold policies and collaborate more as our interests become truly regional. The second is the unprecedented rise in urbanization. 50% of the world's population live in cities, which cover 0.5% of the world's land, yet consume 75% of the world's resources. People used to be attracted to cities for employment. Today, they are attracted by the quality of life cities offer, putting tremendous pressure on infrastructure, the environment, and the social fabric of the city. The third is the shifts in global economic power. This year, Asia Pacific will have a larger middle class than Europe and North America combined. Emerging markets are moving up the value chain and competing with the developed economies. The fourth megatrend is climate change and resource scarcity, with the population growing and middle class rising, consuming resources beyond our planet's capacity to cope. Sustainability is no longer a choice, but an imperative. We must urgently work together to transition to and attract investment in sustainable development. Lastly, technology has the greatest impact on our lives. With costs of technology falling and the speed of adaptation rising dramatically, technology has significantly disrupted the way we live, communicate, and work. Consumer demand for anytime, anywhere access to information is disrupting and transforming businesses, products, and services. Today, both business and government need to develop a comprehensive and consistent strategy to take advantage of the digital age. Excellencies, these megatrends are bringing challenges and new opportunities. More than ever, we need to come together for collective action towards greater regional economic integration to achieve our shared vision of a secure, stable, and prosperous region for everyone through inclusive, quality, and sustainable growth. We applaud the recent conclusion of the TPP, call for the completion of the RCEP, and are encouraged by the progress of the Pacific Alliance as important pathways to the free trade of the Asia-Pacific, which Abac first proposed 10 years ago. The FTAP is the most practical vehicle to achieve the sustainable and inclusive environment that our leaders envisioned when they created Apec in 1989. Abac has commissioned a study that will identify next-generation business and investment issues so that the FTAP becomes responsive to the needs of business, big and small alike. We urge APEC economies to continue their commitment to the WTO and to exert leadership through the early implementation of the Trade Facilitation Agreement by the 10th WTO Ministerial Conference in December. Excellencies, allow me to highlight some key recommendations. The future of a sustainable APEC needs to be inclusive with a broader sector of society participating to create a more stable economic region. Greater focus must be put on services sector, the single biggest contributor to employment and output. Most of the barriers to service trade are structural in nature and will require ambitious policy and regulatory reform. ABAC this year worked to establish the Asia-Pacific Coalition of Services Organization to help APEC deliver on the principles embodied in the APEC Services Cooperation Framework. Excellencies, we have an 84-page report to leaders with all our recommendations. These include the development of APEC's financial systems for resilient financial markets, practical measures for infrastructure development, including disaster-resilient infrastructure in the face of the new normal, the development of a new approach to the management of cross-border labor flows, which will allow the circular flow of workers to the earn, learn, and return. Actions to promote trade and investments in food and agriculture and the elimination of food waste. ABAC established the Asia-Pacific Food Industry Forum to support policy work and food security. A call for governments to proactively invest in healthy, productive workforces. Use of metrics to guide city officials in building sustainable and livable cities. And actions to promote green growth, eliminating non-tariff barriers to environmental goods and services, and delivering renewable energy commitments. And finally, strengthening the rule of law to provide an environment of legal certainty and to improve in areas where public policy is hindering trade and investment. Excellencies, these same global megatrends offer new growth opportunities, especially for SMEs. We must promote inclusive business models. ABAC study with the Asian Institute of Management shows the impact of value-driven partnerships when SMEs form critical paths in the global value chains. We must create the environment for SMEs to internationalize through e-commerce. A joint study by ABAC and the USC Marshall School found that SMEs across APEC face many challenges. We need an APEC-wide e-commerce policy framework and strategy. The greatest driver of economic growth is innovation. And constrained by large fixed assets, SMEs are better positioned to understand new customer expectations and create transformational business models through innovation. Unlocking the remarkable potential of entrepreneurs needs a robust innovation ecosystem. Economies must commit to developing their respective innovation and digital plans. 50 years ago, the life expectancy of Fortune 500 companies was 75 years. Today, it is less than 15. Clearly, an APEC-wide plan is also needed, or we will all be left out of future growth. To kick off our work in this area, Abac, together with the Asia Pacific Foundation of Canada and Abac Canada, is launching an interactive mapping of incubators to allow startups to network and VCs to find startups to support. Excellencies, if we are to deliver the promise of inclusive growth, innovation, fairness, and cooperation must continue to inspire our work. There is much to be done, and we urge some immediate actions, which include: the first is to adopt policies to promote trade and services, to ratify the TFA and commence steps on rapid implementation of your respective TFA commitments, accelerate investment in resilient infrastructure, and increase private sector participation in key infrastructure delivery. 4, commission the development of an APEC innovation and digital action plan in cooperation with Abac. We are offering to serve not just as a resource for knowledge sharing, but as partners in developing policies and actions that will usher in an age of shared prosperity for APEC and the region's people. Thank you.
Excellencies and partners from ABAC, allow me to state that we in APEC are truly grateful for the efforts of ABAC. The report you presented today encourages all of us to find ways to further enhance symmetries between us and among all economies of our region towards strengthening trade and investments and promoting sustainable development and inclusive growth in the Asia Pacific. By so doing, we open more doors of meaningful opportunity for all our citizens. At this point, may I invite everyone to the ABAC Dialogue breakout sessions. Thank you. Good afternoon.